Hey guys, this is Brandon with Outdoor Survivalist. Just coming to you today, I wanted to do a product review on a new product that I just received. It is the Solo Stove Titan and the Solo Stove Pot 1800 that comes with this. This item that I got is actually a combination item. Usually they sell just the stove or just the pot, but in this case it actually comes with both the pot and the stove. This item does sell for about $136, so right shy of $140 on Amazon. But I already own the previous Solo Stove, the standard one that they came out with. It's a smaller version right here on my right, and the Solo Pot 900 that accompanies it. And with these stoves, typically if you have the pots, the stoves will actually nest down inside of the pots, and that's one feature I really like because it saves a lot of space when I'm hiking or camping. So I can fit it in my pack and use up a lot of minimal space, and I can even, the cooking ring that comes with this, that the pot actually sits on, will turn upside down and go inside the item, and you can even put some fire making items in there, like a lighter or a fire steel or whatever. So with these items though, I just wanted to quickly go over them. Again, these are a little bit pricey. You can buy them separately on Amazon. The Solo Stove Titan goes for about $91, whereas the Solo Pot 1800 goes for about $46 on Amazon. So if you want to buy one or the other, or you already have a stove and just need a good pot, or vice versa, these items can be purchased separately. So I just wanted to go over this. One caveat I will state, and I've had this experience with this stove as well as this new one, it's not a downside because it shows that the item is very proficient in its use, but you do want to have plenty of wood available. Now this item will burn twigs, small branches if you chop them up finely, pieces of wood if you chop them up with an axe or a saw. I went ahead and just pre-cut a bunch of wood because I know I'm going to go through it all. But it burns so quickly because of that secondary flame inside, so you just want to make sure you have ample amount of wood to burn for it. So with that secondary flame, what you get is, like I said, that hotter burn from inside, and it actually produces a wood gas somewhat inside of the item. When it superheats that gas that's coming up and that air that's blowing in, when it pulls it into the top, it makes it burn so much faster. So again, I wouldn't say a negative thing, it's just something you need to be mindful of if you're using this item to make sure that you have ample amount of wood. So I'm going to go ahead and light this up and just show you how it works. So let me take the cooking ring off real quick. So once you get this item going, you're just going to, again, just like if you're starting a regular campfire, you're just going to want to start with small pieces, kind of work your way up as those pieces catch. Now up until this point I've actually been using a combination between this standard Solo pot that I've had for a while. I've had it for a few years, couple years. I've used it quite a bit. Just recently I've been using a really inexpensive stove, and I'll have to do a review in the future on it, but I've been using this smaller little butane propane stove and just a Coleman canister that I purchased at Walmart for it, and it's been really working excellent. And this stove actually nests down inside of my Solo Pot 900, so I've been kind of between the two, of a wood stove and a gas stove. But the benefits of using this wood stove is you don't have to have gas, you don't need to worry about it because there's always going to be twigs and wood and everything else around you, even in the middle of the city. So that's really a benefit of this item. And again, that, like I said before, at the bottom of this, right down about here, is going to be the nichrome wire, and it's crisscross over each other, and that's where the wood actually sits, and then there's a pan underneath. So as this fire builds and as it gets hotter, it's going to start basically turning everything to ash, not even charcoal, just ash, and I can already see pieces and hear pieces hitting the bottom. So as it gets hotter, when that gasification starts happening and the oxygen starts getting sucked in and blown out the top, you'll actually be able to see the separate flames, and they'll be coming out of the holes in the top, and it's just that wood gas catching with the fire that's already burning. So it really works excellent. And I'm still waiting for this to I'm going to add some more pieces to it. I'm waiting for it to get a little hotter before I attempt to actually use it. So while I'm waiting for this to burn, just to say a little bit about this, the Solo Stove Pot 1800. This item is also the same material as the Solo Stove Titan, Sorry, we have a rooster here. It's the same materials. It's a stainless steel. It's actually a 304 stainless steel for both the pot and the stove. But this solo pot is really just an ingenious build. It's just a one-piece construction. It has stamped on the inside. Can't really probably see it from there, but stamped on the outside in reverse, so you can see it from the inside. It has the measure markings, and it goes all the way up to 60 ounces, 1.6 liters. So that's really a great thing. It holds a whole lot of water. The downside to my SoloPot 900 is it never really did hold a whole lot. However, I really love the stove. I actually did a previous review on it, and I'll just post that link below the video. So, yeah, I think we're getting kind of close with this. But another really good thing, and I really like though about this SoloPot 1800 is the SoloPot 900 didn't have this option. It just had the two folding wire handles on the side. This one not only has the folding wire handles that actually go past each other and make a sturdy one-piece handle, but it also has this wire bail, and it's a really neat option because that wasn't an option with this one. With this SoloPot 1800, they actually came out with a tripod that they just started selling recently from Solo Stove, and I'll probably be doing a review on that one later. But it actually allows you to hang the pot at different measures over the fire. So you're going to have options. If you're cooking something, you're going to have options of keeping a little higher, and it also gives you more room to kind of throw wood into it, because otherwise if you've got the ring on top, you've only got that amount of room right there at the front of the cook ring that you can actually put wood into the stove. So it looks like the stove's about at that point. I'm starting to get the flames from that secondary burn on the item. I went ahead and put some water in there. I didn't fill it all the way up to that the full ounce of the pot, just because I don't feel like waiting the whole time for it. But I kind of filled it a little over halfway full, but I think we're about at the point where I can put the cook ring on. Now I know the stove, they do actually advertise the stove is taking about 4 to 6 minutes for a full boil. I'm not sure with the full 60 ounces inside. I think it's kind of a little ambitious to say that it would take 4 to 6 minutes. Now, I will say if you have a lot of hardwood like this and you have a really good fire going, and possibly even that tripod over it, I think you probably could get a pretty quick boil going on. But again, I think your mileage may vary depending on what type of wood you're using, if it's hardwood or if it's just small twigs and such. But I think we'll go ahead and get this on now. So again, with this cook ring, to tilt this up a little, it basically goes on like that. Just sits right on the top. It's usually why you want to put wood on after you put it on it. Okay. So there you go. So that's what it looks like. Oh, and that's another really cool thing about this is this item, while it's hot, it's actually really hot now that I'm using a lot of hardwood, I can still touch it, and I can hold it there for a couple of seconds at least. I found this out with my other stove, is I could actually hold it in my hand while it's burning, and I think that's just because there's so much air being suctioned up that it actually somewhat keeps the bottom cool, but the sides are really, really hot. So I wouldn't advise touching up the top, but down the bottom, if you need to touch it and move it around a little bit, you can definitely do that. It's not going to kill you. So, alright, we'll go ahead and add the pot to it, and see about how long this takes to get to a boil. Now, I did go ahead and coat the bottom of this pot and the top of the stove with a little dish soap. I don't typically do that because I always forget because it's such a minor thing, but since I did just recently use this pot, it got a lot of black soot on it, and that happens when you're using wood fires, which is normal, but it was a pain in the butt trying to clean, and I don't feel like having to use a piece of like Brillo pad or steel wool every time to get it all off. So this is supposed to anyway make it a little easier for clean, so just as a FYI tip of the day, you can use that dish soap on it and it should work pretty well to keep the soot. It's still going to be sooty and black, but it should be a lot easier to clean when you go to wipe it off. So, with the Solo Stove, and this actually is the case with, or not Solo Stove, I'm sorry, the SoloPot 1800, and with the standard SoloPot 900, there's a really neat feature. They have these little rings at the top. They fold down, and then they also, if you bring them over, they have a little notch in the top, and it actually locks it, so you can hold it pretty well and not have it fall out of your hand or flip to the side and burn you, because this gets really hot. But the good thing is, though, is you can keep it upright when it's cooking, and so this little rubber grip that they put on both of these won't melt if you have it right there like that. So So again, these are really handy. Like I said, there's wood everywhere, there's twigs everywhere. You can always find fuel. Sometimes you might prefer to use something like this. It's quicker to just turn on the butane propane mix and fire it up real quick. And I mean, opposed to putting wood here and getting it started, all I have to do with this is turn it on, hit the ignition, and I've got flame. So this is really handy, but I do like this because being down here in Florida, we have a lot of hurricanes, occasional tornadoes, but mainly hurricanes and bad storms and such, where our power goes out. So this item's really good for using during emergencies, survival situations, emergencies, even camping and hiking. It's really good. You can choose if you want to use a smaller stove, like the standard Solo stove, or the Solo Stove Titan, but I really think the Solo Stove Titan allows you to hold more wood in there, so it burns a lot longer. The standard Solo stove, I was just adding way too much wood way too often. This one, you can put really large pieces in there and they'll continue to burn for a while. So again, that's just a upside to this. So let's see where we're at. Yeah, it looks like we're starting to get bubbles down at the bottom. So I'm probably anticipating burn time possibly being, I would guess, maybe closer to 6 to 10 minutes. Probably not 10, that's really overreaching, but considering that you have to keep feeding the flame constantly and constantly putting pieces in, I would probably say closer to about like 6 to 8 minutes possibly. It would probably be a standard time that you would expect. So, but it gets really good flame. I mean, that's a good hot, high heat right there, and you can lift the pot up if you want and throw some over to the other side. This stove does include stuff sack, nylon stuff sacks for both the stove and the pot, and with the stove inside its stuff sack, you can actually still fit it inside of the Solo Stove Pot 1800. So that's just an added bonus with this item. So I think we're actually at a full boil now. Yeah. So I would probably say at a half a pot, give or take, I would say maybe about like 7-8 minutes, and that was with sporadic feeding fire. I'm sure if I kept feeding it consistently, it would probably work a lot quicker and boil a lot faster. So overall, I really am excited about the stove and the pot. I think it's going to be a great set to have with all my camping and hiking gear, and to use in emergencies, of course. But yeah, I'd really highly advise this item. I'm definitely going to be telling my friends about it because I think it's really great, and I'll be doing a write-up for it as well. So if you would, just hit like if you enjoyed the video, and feel free to subscribe. I really appreciate that. So thanks so much for watching. Again, this is Brandon with Outdoor Survivalist.